Hello, and welcome to lesson 14 of the Learning Guitar series. In this case, we're discussing the still G shape, and this time we're going to look at it from the point of view of its arpeggios. So let's have a quick look at what we're discussing here. Basically, G major, G shape major arpeggios, and you have triads. I did it in the key of A because it's kind of comfortable, especially when it comes to this kind of form. Usual, like I did for all the other shapes, arpeggios, major 7, major 6, 9, 6, 9, and then 9 until all the way to the modular arpeggio. Here you have the second octave. Sorry, here you have the two octaves. So here is the first octave, here is the second octave, and here the exercise is actually combining them. After that, what you have is basically an example of how to exercise it. So exercise 1, exercise 2 is the ascending version and the descending version. This is the harmonized Ionian modular arpeggio. As you can see, the exercise will be applied to a major 7 arpeggio, but you could also apply this to major triad, and is framed within the cage system. I like starting arpeggios from the root, first of all, like we have done in the previous exercises 1, 2, and 3, and so forth and so on, because it kind of trains your ear at the same time, and I don't find the cage system really good from that point of view. Let's go back to the PDF. After that, you have exercise with regards to groups. So group of 3, group of 4. Again, I'll demonstrate them to you, so it's kind of easy. Now, as this is kind of completing the 5 shapes, from what regards the cage system, I devised a couple of exercises, in this case exercise 5. This is to facilitate vertical transition. What I mean by that is you're going to move across shapes, but without moving across the neck, okay? And so in the case of this particular exercise, you're going to go from G to F to D to C and then to A. And as you can see, this is all the 5 shapes. E shape, a D shape, a C shape, in this case it's D major, but that's a C shape, an A shape, and finally a G shape. The opposite would be exercises that facilitate the horizontal transition, and the point of it in this case is basically going across shapes, right? As opposed to staying across the neck, as opposed to you staying in the same area. So the next area of the page 4 is a massive exercise. We're starting from G and on fret 3, and we progress a chord across the neck. So for convenience, I wrote 1 bar per chord, so there is a chord change every bar, but if you need more time, you can do, say, 2 bars of this, 2 bars of this, or you could do 4 bars of this, 4 bars of this. It doesn't really matter. The letter in parentheses, so this, E, D, the one in red, represents the shape that you should be using in executing the arpeggio. You have an exercise that basically starts here and allows you to practice the arpeggios in all shapes all the way up the neck. So this is quite a difficult exercise, so it's going to take a little bit. Once you get it, you realize that you know it, and you're going to find it is incredibly beautiful and incredibly rewarding if you try, for example, in solo, and you start to be able to highlight the chord changes while you're soloing, because all your guide tones, so-called guide tones, notes, thirds, fifths, they're all there. They're in the arpeggios. So you'll be able to move from one chord to another solo-wise, and at the same time being aware of what all your guide tones are. One last thing for those into trivia somehow. As you can see, and that's the reason it's called the cage system. C-A-G-E-D, C-A-G-E-D, C-A. So, it repeats itself. The actual word caged, that's where the name comes from. Now let's look at just a few examples on how to approach the exercises. The first part of the PDF is obviously written in the key of A, and the reason being that, say, when we do a major 7, we find ourselves playing this. So I'm trying to use, not to use open string in this case. Triads, and as you'll see it in exercise 1 and 2, but the way you want to practice is chromatically up. Don't forget to tell yourself in which key you are. This particular arpeggio here is where your root note are. There are three of them. 1, 2, and 3. So this is A triad, this is B flat, this is B, and of course reversed. So starting from the 5th, then the 3rd, then the root note. And then alternated. So 1 ascending, 1 descending. Right? Same thing for major 7. That's B flat. Of course, you want to do this to a metronome. I suggest you practice rather slowly if you've never done this before, or you practice at a speed where you don't do too many mistakes. And again, you want to go through all the arpeggios, so with the same kind of up and down the neck, ascending and descending. So you have all the exercises, basically the 1 octave on the PDF. So you have the 6th, so 1, 3, 5, 6. This would be the reversed version. With the 9th, so 1, 3, 5, 9, so and backwards and alternated. Same thing for all of them, all the way to the modal arpeggio. And the modal arpeggio, as explained before, is basically a vertical version of a scale. So it contains exactly the same intervals, but in different order. You have 1, 3, 5, major 7, 9, which is equal to 2, 11, which is equal to 4, 13, which is equal to 6. So if you think about it, it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6. It's the same as the scale, but the scale is an horizontal structure, so you know, intervals of seconds and minor seconds, and this is the same but spelled as an arpeggio. Okay, and when it comes to exercise, groups, what I call, you'll see in the PDF, I call them group of 3, group of 4. Basically, you're harmonizing this in group of 3, group of 4. So instead of playing it this way, you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, group of 3 notes at a time, right? You have this kind of effect. Same thing, group of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when it comes to this particular form, so the major 7, okay, just a very brief discussion. I wrote it in the PDF that can be executed kind of in 2 different ways. Reason being that for some of you might be uncomfortable, as we are used to have, say, 1 finger, 1 fret for other types of arpeggios. In this case, we're having, say, 4th finger, 3rd finger, then we need to slide. I mean, we need to kind of use the 2nd finger for the 5th, right? Because the major 7 is still more on the left-hand side. So we end up with this. Especially people that like 3 notes per strings kind of approach. They rather do it this way. So you'll have 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger, and the major 7 is here. So instead of playing it this way, we play it this way, right? They're both valuable, they're both beautiful. I wrote them both, and now probably in this way you understand why I wrote them both. So same thing when you're practicing the 2 octaves version of this. So this would be the 2nd octave, and again, I assume that you already practiced it this way individually, but then we connect them. So this is 2 octaves of a major 7 arpeggio, and another way of doing would be this. So now we're using the major 7 on this side. I thought it was relevant to actually point this out. The cage system version compared to the root-to-root kind of version, it's only adding 1 note, for example, when it comes to the major 7. If this is a root note, obviously this is a major 7. So we are extending it by 1 note. Okay? And of course this is a 6, so when you're practicing major 6, right, which is this, you could start from here, right, because that's a 6. That's the 2nd octave. as we move forward, so the following is so exercise 5. So the exercise is devised for you to practice vertically. So in that case, we start from a G major 7, and this would be the shape of E, F major 7, D major 7, C major 7, A major 7, and that's your 5 shapes, okay? And then it moves in A flat, so you can move this exercise chromatically all over the neck, okay? So you should continue. So I only wrote the first 24 bars of it, so starting from G, so I'm gonna go G, A flat, A, B flat, B. You should definitely continue it, or anyway, use the exercise, the very last exercise on the PDF, as it kind of contains them all. Instead, like the following exercises, so the one for the transitions across shapes. The transition, the horizontal transition, so you're playing the same chord. So you're playing, say, G. In this case, you're going to be playing G in the shape of E, G in the shape of D, G in the shape of C, G in the shape of A, and finally G in the shape of G, okay? So you're basically kind of going... That's the second shape, that's third shape, fourth shape, and you're back to the first one. The guitar has got the 7th shape, I mean, like if you have 22 frets, I believe, okay? And you just do that ups and down, okay? What you might want to do is to change key, maybe on a daily basis if you practice every day. So the exercise is written in G, but maybe like say tomorrow you do this in the key of D. Key of D is basically, in this case, if you look at the root notes, if you start here, you will find yourself with this. First of all, the shape of C, then the shape of A, then the shape of G. The sequence is always the same, that's why the cage system. So once you have that sequence going on, I mean, the shape of A will always follow the shape of C. The shape of G will always follow the shape of A, okay? And so if you think of it, it's going to be, caged, right? Like this kind of concludes this particular lesson, and in a way, like there is, of course, as with everything, there is a lot to practice, and take your time. I don't have other suggestions from that point of view. So let's look at how we can, practice this a little bit, but also while playing, so we can enjoy ourselves. Because I know that just practicing exercises, in the long run, is not exactly fun. So let's have a look at the way we can do this. It's not dissimilar to the way we've done it before. So I created the loop, and I used the chord progression we discussed. So I'm using G, going into F, going into D, going into C, going into A, and then it goes back to G, and it keeps looping. In this case, what I used for my loop is a G major 7, going into F major 7, shape of D, going into D major 7, going into C major 7, and then going into G major. I mean, I like particularly this one, which is a 9. Sorry, A major. Sorry, not G. caution I suggest is that at this stage you don't mix too much scales and arpeggios in your soloing. So you kind of limit yourself in using arpeggios as much as you can to try and build solo line, lead lines. Because of course that, is going to give you a sense of where your guide tones are, as opposed to try and run scales up and down. I could play you the same progression without backing and you probably still hear the chord changes. Let's see. So G, F, D. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'll see you next time. Bye.